Jane Austen's technique and craftsmanship in the novel Emma. This is the topic of today's lecture. So let us dwell upon the central character or protagonist of this novel titled Emma and the technique and craftsmanship of the novelist. So let's start. Jane Austen is a realist who draws her materials from actual life as she sees it. Her stories are perfectly credible and convincing. There is nothing fantastic, fanciful, or far fetched in them. She depicts the social life of her time and is thus a practitioner of the domestic novel or the novel of manners. Realism is the keynote of her novels, whether they are considered from the point of view of a story, characters, or setting. Miss Emma Woodhouse, the central character or protagonist of the novel, was a pretty lovable, clever, and rich girl of 21 with very little to distress or worry her in life. She was the younger of the two daughters of a most affectionate, indulgent father named Mr. Woodhouse. Her elder sister, named Isabel, was already married and her mother had died many years ago. Emma had been looked after by a governess, Miss Taylor, but even Miss Taylor had now got married. Emma lived with her father, Mr. Woodhouse, who was a valetudinarian, that means a person who is mostly ill. The marriage of her governess, Miss Taylor, was now proving a great loss to Emma because she felt quite lonely in the absence of the governess who had also been a friend to her for 16 years. It was true that Miss Taylor, who had now become Mrs. Weston by her marriage to Mr. Weston, lived only half a mile away from Emma Woodhouse. Emma's elder sister Isabel had married Mr. John Knightley and was comfortably settled in London, about 16 miles away from the village of Highbury, where Emma lived with her father in a house called Hartfield. Hartfield is the name of the home where Emma lived with her father. Emma's father was a well respected man in the village because he belonged to the foremost family there. Mr. Woodhouse also missed the presence of Miss Taylor in the house. Mr. George Knightley, a sensible man of about 38, was the elder brother of Isabel's husband. He was a very old and intimate friend of the Woodhouse family. He lived about a mile from Highbury at a place called Donwell Abbey. He was a frequent visitor at Hartfield, the residence of Emma and her father. He was one of the few people who had the courage to see faults in Emma Woodhouse and the only one who even told her of her faults. When Mr. Knightley came to see the father and daughter after Miss Taylor had got married, he agreed with Emma that she would greatly miss the company of her governess. Emma told Mr. Knightley that it was she who had made the match between Miss Taylor and Mr. Weston. She said that Mr. Weston had been a widower for a long time and was not much interested in getting remarried. Further, Emma claimed that she had planned the match between him and her governess, Mr. Knightley. Mr. Knightley, however, did not agree that Emma had anything to do with Mr. Weston's marrying Miss Taylor. Her father advised Emma not to make any more matches because he regarded marriages as silly things which broke up a family circle badly. But Emma said that she had to make one more match and that she was looking a suitable partner for Mr. Elton the Vicar. It is noteworthy that Emma claims to have made the match between Miss Taylor and Mr. Weston, though this claim is not fully accepted by Mr. Knightley. It is noteworthy also that Emma is planning to make another match. She is looking for a wife for Mr. Elton, of whom she has a very good opinion. Her father, however, is opposed to her plan because he is opposed to marriage in general. In the opinion of Mr. Woodhouse, marriages break up one's family circle grievously. Emma is of 21. Miss Taylor has taught her and played with her since Emma was 5 years of age. Miss Taylor's new home is only half a mile away. Emma's sister lives 16 miles from Hartfield in London. Highbury, the large and populous village. There are some of the facts which we learn in this first chapter of the novel. The artistic economy of means is accompanied by a lightness of tone in the moral discrimination made between the various characters. Between Emma and her governess, it was more the intimacy of sisters. The kind of substitute relationship is frequently found in the novels of Jane Austen, and Miss Taylor had also given Emma a mother's love. Thus, the governess replaced both Emma's mother, who had died long before the story begins, and Isabel, Emma's sister. The added complication of Miss Taylor's marriage to Mr. Weston and consequent removal from Hartfield provides the initial situation. The first chapter is a small masterpiece in itself. It felicitously blends the three chief ingredients of fiction: narrative, a character's reflections, and dramatic dialogue. Five short paragraphs of descriptive narration present the 21-year-old Emma Woodhouse as an ideal but still very human heroine. The plot of Emma, the novel, turns on the question: whom will the heroine marry? The plot is concerned with a girl of many fine qualities, but of certain considerable errors, resulting from the misuse of her own powers. Who realizes these errors? Emma is certainly guided by fancy and whim, and we begin to notice this all the more when, after a series of comic scenes based on the ambiguity of Mr. Elton's supposed wooing of Harriet, Mr. John Knightley points out to Emma that Mr. Elton seems to have an interest in her. Emma's reaction to this is clearly self deceiving. He failure to perceive that it is she herself who is being courted by Mr. Elton takes on a dimension beyond the comic. It takes on the status of a moral fault. The second part of the novel and the middle is concerned with Emma's mistakes about the nature of Frank Churchill's and Jane's characters. The situations are now complicated, but Emma repeats her errors without real improvement, inventing a romance between Jane and Mr. Dixon and another between Churchill and herself. Here, the purpose of the action is to show how Emma behaves in events which increasingly come to involve not a prodigy but her own destiny, and to show how she capable of misusing herself. This part of the novel ends with a significant and crucial discovery, Emma's discovery that she is in love. The end of the book beautifully enforces the weight and meaning of the book. All the significances are made clearer though a simple delaying action which enables the author to reveal all the inadequacies of the characters and the moral lesson to be learned from them. Repentance in Emma is delayed to the last and therefore most effective moment, and it comes after a train of thought in which we see Emma affected, involved, and pressed into a realization of her follies. On top of understanding comes marriage, a right resolution to the plot, in that it enforces the significance of true understanding. The artistic problem of the book thus was to make us care for Emma in such a way that we feel concerned about her fate and that we like her, but that at the same time we do not subdue our moral feelings about her faults. That's all for this period. In your next class, we will elaborate about marriage as a principal theme of the novel. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.